uh, how's it going? Doing another stroll. Hope it's a little windy, so put something in my jacket. Try to see how that sounds, but anyway, it's not so fun. So we left off last time. We were talking about MJ, right? And how this, really not sure how to calculate certain numbers like the THC and all that stuff, but other numbers I've felt, I guess, right after all, you can kind of just feel food, and then you feel like you're a gauge, right? A gauge, whatever, whatever country you're from. So anyway, and so yeah, every time we go there, it's always off, right? So I always end up buying like the one with like the weirdest strain. It's just kind of like, oh, right, this is cheap. It's kind of funny. It's almost like it's inverted, but I think they've inverted their numbers somehow. Is how I feel. It's like maybe there's a mirror effect going on. Or I'm not really sure, but the ones that they say are high are low, and the ones that are low are really high. So this is how I felt. But whoever understands that will understand what I'm saying. But anyway, now we're going to get to that story. But yeah, I was just walking by the wall. Actually, it's amazing. It's you can just hear the traffic on the other side. Right, this is cool. It's cool to be able to just daydream and see it's like what's on the other side. It's really awesome. So, but anyway, I wanted to do some stories, right? There's the other stories that are in this in the Matrix, in the Biosphere, and so they're up there, and I wanted to pull out another topic, actually, because we talk about food. Do you understand how food works now, right? So now we're going to go into another topic, because otherwise it'll just be boring. Even though I love food, but so I want to talk about the biosphere, right? And kind of like how it's shaped. So for the mathematicians out there who do the bell curve, right? So the bell curve is like the perfection from, right? To see kind of like the standard bell curve, then the statistic it is. But anyway, it goes off to infinity and it goes off to alpha and omega, right? Both sides. So anyway, so that kind of like represents time almost. Time is rarely measured like that. Like that's frequency, right? Up and down. And so if you put it into the biosphere, right? And so you think of that, put that one big fucking thing in the biosphere, right? And you kind of like, okay, sweet. It's like in there, then you can measure time and put a line across it, and then okay, sweet, that's time, right? And put a middle right in between it, put a line, right? And then put on the top, put another line as well too, right? And so you kind of like it's kind of like on both sides, the mirror effect, and so you kind of like have this cross, I guess, right? So this cross represents the road that I'm putting you on, right? So I'm going to show you how it works. And so it's a roadmap. That's what it is, right? So you have this roadmap, and you're kind of like, I think in the Bible they have like three levels. What did I call it? Justification, sanctification, baptism of the Holy Ghost, right? And so you justify, you say, oh, believe in Jesus, all that bullshit. Anyway, so there's different levels, right? And so these different levels, it's all about, you have to believe. So first, you have to make a stand, right? As soon as you make that stand, poof, you're on this road, you're on this journey, toof. It's like you make that stand. Like for example, for me, I'm going to, right. It's exactly, for myself, exactly too, right? My frequency is like off the charts. It's like, anyway, so, but even for myself, right? I just moved into a new environment, and then there's a coffee pot there, and all of a sudden it's just like, I want to show you how cravings work. And so it's interesting. So here's a craving. Like I used to love drinking coffee. There's oodles of it, right? It was horrible. This destroyed me. So anyway, so I moved into this house, and so I started picking up habits, right? Because no habit is a craving, right? So you have this craving, all of a sudden there's kind of like, I do, even for like alcohol as well too, all of a sudden it's like so you haven't drank for 10 years, and all of a sudden someone brings out a glass of wine of red, like your favorite one in the whole world, right? You would fucking give a blowjob just to fucking have a little sip, right? And so anyway, so someone brings it out, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my god, I like you're at your weakest almost, right? So it's almost like it comes at the point when it shouldn't be there. It's like now all of a sudden that person, they're really weak, boom, it's like they'll go back, right? All of a sudden it's like that, right? So really that it is, it's like these little buggers that you have behind you, and you have lots of them, man. Average people have, you'll hate this number, 50. This is the average number in society, 50, right? So you have this one, like you have the coffee, you have smoking, drinking, over-maturation, all these different things, right? And they all work together as a really good unit, right? But there's always a leader in the unit. So if you really wanted to get rid of them, you would have to find out who the leader is. But the leader will never, ever reveal itself, right? Never. And so because there's tactics in different ways, and you just make sure that it's just a one big strong unit, right? And they're always a strong unit. They work together. And then your angel that was back there, remember? I told you about him? Well, anyway, he's in the back, like way back, chained up somewhere, like has no voice whatsoever, right? That's a real you. So that's the one who is like innocent, right? Remember that innocent person before you like just were a big whore? We're all whores, like we're all guilty of it. I was a whore. You're like, oh, that's fun. But anyway, everybody has to be guilty of something, right? It's just like we're all kind of like, oh yeah, what's fun? Right? Who cares? Doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, right? This is like leave it in the past. But anyway, and so you're kind of like, that's hilarious. Crazy weather we're having, eh? It seems like it's just destroying humans. It's like, what's going on? It's just like, I thought you loved them. You're like, yeah. Right? So this story that's played out, right? So we have this timeline. So you see you have this cross. Boof. You have to walk this line. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna turn you into a renegade, right? A person who's gonna walk this line and not try to turn aside. Like that's a person, a Christian nowadays. You say, oh, I'm Christian, and they make the stand. It's like, okay, I believe in Jesus, all some truth are on this cross, right? Because they activate it with their words. Their words are power. It's like you don't say it until you believe it. As soon as you say it, it's just kind of like, oh shit, you weren't even ready. It's like sending like a guy into battle when he's not ready, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh shit, I guess he wasn't ready, eh? It's kind of like, oh, I don't think so, right? He's dead, right? You want to make sure that none of your men die. And so, anyway, so this walk that you're gonna take is just gonna be, it's good. But the thing is though, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how to fight against those forces that want to make sure you do not get to your destination, right? The 500. You think it's gonna be easy walk? It's like, oh, I just gotta go down to the farmer's market and fucking buy some food. It's like, oh, you're probably a minus 100. I'm kidding. Anyway, and then you right, it's like you're on this journey, but every force possible is going to fight you along the way, right? And you got to be able to figure out, it's kind of like, well, I can't really fight an army unless I know my enemy, right? Just kind of know the enemy. You make sure your enemy is like really close, and then make sure the enemy is like your best friend, right? It's like that's how these demons work. It's like, but you have to also work within their power and how they work as well too, right? So it's really like they really have no friends. It's like they really have no friends after all. It's just kind of like interesting. Right? It's just like it's no loyalty, which is really strange in how they work. But anyway, so with these entities and how they work, right? They work how they within the humans, and so really within humans, you can kind of understand sometimes, right? Kind of like how they are, because they're like they get so predictable after a while. It's just kind of like, well, because there's a pattern, because they're not very bright. They're not very bright, and so like they have territories, and so it's kind of like those territories. We'll call them like different. I don't know, like an army. We'll call them like an army, right? We'll call them reserves, right? You have these different little stations, right? There's in a map, different places, right? So they have these different locations, and so each one has a reserve, right? And they monitor it, and then each one has like a border. So for example, say you wanted to go in, I don't know, you always have to do it in the daytime, right? So you do it in the daytime, that way when they actually do play the humans, they'll come out and they won't understand. They'll just be like, what happened? So it's kind of like, it's really dope. So you kind of understand how they work, right? They only work at night with these entities. And when it's dark, like the sun, or no, they can't work, right? Because the sun, it's kind of like vampires. And so with them, after the sun goes down, say boom, they have free reign on you, right? And then there's like, you're not, just kind of like, it's like, anyway, I'll talk to you later, it's a stroke of midnight time deal. And you're just like, I'm here, right? And so you kind of just want to, just stay away from humans after a while, because it's just, that's how they are. And then you kind of understand, it's kind of like, right? And so, and you can, after a while, you can feel them, right? Because you know that's not like, oh, that's not a human. And it's just like, and then you realize it's like, I'm in fucking hell. You're like, oh, I'm in hell. It's like everywhere I go, there's everyone's a negative frequency, right? And so they have all these negative entities controlling them, and they don't realize it, right? It's like it's everything, and it's just kind of like wow. So that's that's kind of like how they work. That's with their world, right? And so here I'll show you actually how to combat these buggers. It's really easy. Anyway, so you have to get a dagger. I'm just kidding. Get an invergent blend. It's like good luck finding that. Okay. Anyway, I digress. So yes, all you have to do is just eat good food. If you say, for example, were to do this, right? For example, with this food, you go out to the farmer's market. And you'll go out and buy some garlic, right? And then go out and buy some oil. It's called Alpha. At the farmer's. Not to probably find it at a health store or somewhere. It's like $80. It's expensive. Or get it online for $20. That's right. So you get this, and you infuse that garlic into that oil, right? But very slow. Render it slowly, like do it 2 or 3. And the thing is, though, you don't take off the outside of the garlic. It's just like stripping off. It's like dripping off Superman before he's trying to help you. It's like, here, hold on. Take his clothes off. He would just be like, what are you doing? It's like, okay, now help me. It's like, I'm going home. Right? That's exactly what you did when you took out that covering of that garlic. It's like you just took out the fucking power that was supposed to help you. Anyway, right? So leave that on. It's like take out the covering, but leave the other one inside and let it render, right? And just let it render for about 5 hours. Really slow on 2 or 3. Right? It's gonna eventually you'll know it's done when it's brown. It's kind of like, okay, it's done. Then just let it do its thing, right? But you also want to get some kale from the farmer's market. Get some kale. Get some spinach. Some chard. And if you can, get some what are those things called? Dates, right? Dates are amazing. So anyway, so we take those 4. We'll just take those for now. Okay, get those and take them home. Get lots. Render it down. Like so, I know you have your oil. So take those 4 different ones, right? And then each one you want to kind of make sure you separate. You don't want to put them together at all. It's like you want 4 different meals, right? Because they're a meal. Essentially, what it is. So I'm showing you how to make a 1,000 frequency meal. So anyway, so you go down and you take that thing, and you gotta make sure it's from farmer's market because it's gonna be about 3, 4, right? You gotta make sure it's high. If it's any other place, don't even try this because you'll be wasting your time. So anyway, so you go down and you take it and you cut it down, right? The kale, and then you take about 4. I think when you go down to let's say 3 cups. Put in 3 cups of that oil that you just took from that garlic, right? And then take it and put it into a pan, very shallow, like a cast iron one, those big ones. If you have those, that's cool. If you don't, like something similar to it, big. And you just put that kale into it, that's chopped up. Then you put that oil into it, right? And just let it render down, cover it, let it render really, really, really slow again on 2 for about a long time. And then you'll know it's done when it's kind of sludgy, right? And then you can take it and put it into a blender, and then you blend it, and then you put it into a jar, right? Glass jar, and you put it in a cool place, like a pantry, right? Because it's kind of like a preserved already because of the oil. And then anyway, you take those 4, the same things you did, and get some pita bread. Learn to make your own pita bread if you can online on YouTube, and just get all the materials yourself, like the grain. Just get some grain and find something that will kind of render it down, right? And then make your own flour. And then it's just like there's simple recipes online that show you how to make pita bread, right? Because you just want to be able to have a dip. So you have that meal right there. That meal is like, that's a 1,000 frequency meal. So once you eat that meal, it's like your frequency is really high for that day. Say for instance, like you ate that, I don't know, 3 times a day, right? And that was your meal, and you kind of just did that. Because people eat to get really full. It's like you're only supposed to eat as the size of your stomach. The size of your stomach. Oh, exactly. That's why people are fucking huge. The size of your fist, right? So if you actually want to know how you're supposed to eat, just hold out your hand and then put a piece of cloth on there or something, or else maybe like I don't know, something. Anyway, so, and then fill that up to the top. That's how much you're only supposed to eat. That's it. And never eat past that. If you pass that, then you're hurting yourself, right? Because your stomach's supposed to only eat that frequency. So that's the way it's not supposed to eat all the food that you eat. Also, you're just kind of like, oh, in fact, you're going for thirds. You're like, oh, I'm on my 5th one, bro. It's just like, Just like, don't brag about that. That's gross. Ew. Right? It's like guaranteed that person's just covered in parasites. Ugh. So here's the gross part about these entities that live in you, because it's connected to food, right? So anyway, so all these persons, say if a person is 50, it's like they have 50 parasites in them. Ugh. I know. Imagine having sex with that person. Oh, it's like, oh, I just want to puke. Anyway. But yeah, they're like there, right? It's horrible. Like the more sick is like it's sick. But these things, they live right in this other dimensions that are there, but they can come and fly around in those worms, like the worms inside these people, these parasites, and then they kind of like move those around, right? So it is like ew. All I can say is ew, right? So anyway, but parasites, so you're killing parasites, essentially is what you're doing, right? And so there's different frequencies that they live in. So say for example you have your frequency is say minus 25. So guaranteed that you have parasites that live at a frequency of minus 25. Right? It's just how it works. It's just numbers. It's like there's no guessing, there's no like this, it's just numbers. It's a number game. That's it. It's not that they're just like, oh, I think it's just like no, that's it. Right? So you kinda like it's what you track. So you have these entities that live around you, but they're living off of you, right? They can't live off by themselves, they're living off a host, so it's you. So, so anyway, they go to your second stomach, which is your stomach. They call it the second brain, right? That's your stomach. So I almost called you a cow. Second stomach, gross. What's your car? Anyway. So you have this. They go to your second brain, and they kind of just go there and they feed themselves. We'll say the drinking one, that you have a drinking spirit. All of a sudden, it'll just kind of go to your stomach, and it's like, I want to go drinking. And some people just have no fucking free will. That human that's in there is just kind of like, are you gonna try and fight? Are you just gonna like, it's just people just, right? Just have no will. It's just kind of like, until you, that's why we say it's like we control you, right? It's like you're our, water. We control you. It's just like you think you have free will. It's like, no, sometimes you're just there and they're leaving you alone. This is what? But they always want to play, right? So it's like these humans just constantly just, they have no rest. They give themselves no rest. So it's like they're already in hell, right? So it's just, when they go to hell, it's almost, it's almost a vacation in a way. So which is strange. But, yeah. Oh shit. I'm walking on this trail and it's Uber money. It's pretty sweet. That's when you kind of look and say, man, should I have taken this trail? I say, where am I on that cross? Where am I on that trail, right? That trail I was talking about. And after all, you start questioning yourself and you start looking back. And you're thinking like, oh, I'm in danger. It's like, what the hell? And that's when people actually decide like go pray to God if they're almost ready to die. All of a sudden it's just like, poof. And then they turn their life around, right? And then they go back. But something always gets them again. You're just kind of like, fucking human. Just like, no will, right? And you're watching all these people play the video game. You're like, I want to play. So imagine you're a little kid, right? So imagine this. You're a little kid and you're at the arcade. and you're the guy who's just kind of a weakling, right? You're just kind of the weakling one. Only because your host has no willpower. That's only it. It's not because he's a wuss. I know. It's because the human has no power, but it's not their fault, right? It's because their body is so low. So anyway, that food that I just told you to eat. So you eat it, and you'll have the willpower because they will not be able to get near you. What you've done is you've increased the frequency of your body, right? Like your atoms spin faster or slower, blah, 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 right? It's just the atoms. So anyway, so you eat that, those things will not be able to come near you. So your urges, cravings, those things, right, they'll avoid your stomach. So just think of your stomach as a universe. And just think of the black hole as you as the black hole. You're the one who is tracking those bad things, right? And you're saying the universe is out there, just kind of like, actually no, you're the universe. It's like, bitches, right? And that black hole is like, it's inside, right? Inside your stomach. And then you're trying to ensure that you don't bring in entities into this place. And that's how they come in. It's like you think like, well, there's a hole that we call in and we have all these things. It's like, oh yeah, you can definitely contact, right, the other world through different means. But my God, stay away from that. right? We're just talking about the food. So anyway, with the food, you want to be able to just have stuff that's healthy and that's going to keep your frequency high. So if your frequency is on the plus, is like those parasites will just start dying, right? And you're going to get sick as they die. So if you kill them really fast, you're going to be sick really fast. So it's always good to kind of unshock your body or shock your body at the same time. Shock and unshock. So that way it's kind of just, your body gets used to it and it gets stronger because of it, right? It's almost like you're strengthening as you rip it apart, but you strengthen and rip it apart, kind of like the Wolverine. So as you're ripping it apart, you're healing it, and that's what the marijuana does. It's a healer, right? It's a very strong medicine, and that's why they kept it away from people for so long. And now it's here again. It's got like, well, why? It's like, well, it's the season. It comes in and it's just kind of, okay, well, it's not for you, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, new season. Right? So it's almost like a new season of a Game of Thrones. It's like, yes, it's a new season. Like, let's play. Right? Because if you really want to see where we are, you want to see our future, let's go see the Game of Thrones. Let's see where we're headed. Right? It's like, what skills should I have? One, you should be hot. You got really good roles. Okay. Anyway, right? You kind of see where you lie. So when you're, I don't know, you're watching the movie, right? Figure out who are you in that game, and then you just think like, do I have any authority? So am I gonna be like the king? Am I that big guy with no balls? Well, am I, right? So look at the thing and decide, okay, which character am I? And then really look at yourself and say like, okay, if things really went to shit, right? Say tomorrow. Say they did, but they won't. And all of a sudden you're just kind of like, oh, that's my character, right? Because it's set on who you are right now. You look at yourself and you're like, I don't know, say you're overweight or anything, right? You're anything, whatever you are. Because you could be better, right? Because you know exactly what you could be because you were there. And you think like, oh, I get 22. Because people are only supposed to live till 22 years old. Not live till 22 years old, but your body stays at 22. So whatever 22-year-old is like you've locked your body in, right? So, boom. But people go past that and all of a sudden they just go to a piece of shit and they be like, you can actually stay there if you wanted to, but I don't know, keep going. It's like, go ahead. It's just kind of, you kind of just watch them destroy themselves, right? Because those things, those parasites, are helping you destroy it, right? And the funny part is, it's not even your fault. It's like it's really, in essence, it's almost if you really wanted to blame someone, it's your parents' fault. Because a lot of these kids, by age 2, they have a negative frequency. By age 2, you can destroy a kid's frequency so bad by just, right? By age 2, they're negative, and all of a sudden they call it the terrible twos. It's like, no, it's not their fault, right? Don't give it a name. It's your fault because you killed it. You killed your baby. The frequency, right? That's your baby. So really, after minus is like you lose your baby because that's not the essence of them anymore. It's those demons, right? Playing it. Those entities. And it's just kind of like, okay, the real baby that you love so much, you just kind of want to cuddle with, and all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, don't touch me. They're just kind of like, what the hell did that come from, right? And they start like wanting to hurt themselves and things like that. These entities are hurting them, right? Because it's like the food that you're giving them. It's like you're murdering your babies, is what you're doing, right? And you're allowing these entities to come near your kids. So in essence, you're just, and these people don't realize what they're doing, right? They're thinking like they're helping them, giving them sugar, my kids are happy because it's like, no, you're feeding those entities that are pretending to be your kids, right? They're not your kids anymore. They're even allowed to whisper. They're just kind of like, oh, they sit and you look at kids and, I don't know, a lot of them are not really kids anymore. It's almost because they're little devils, right? Because they're controlling your children already because you've destroyed their stomachs to nothing, right? With the food, because the food's so important. You need food that's alive. So if you put in dead food into something, it dies. You put in live food into something, it lives, right? Of course people from the old world know that, right? It's like you need to do that, but the new world, they don't know that. They're stupid. That's why they're so evil. Their food just turns them evil, right? If you were just to give them healthy food, they would just actually turn nice. All of a sudden, they're just like, I'm not going to murder people. It's just like, oh, okay, good. I like that. So just if you just give them good food, right? They would change. They would just automatically change because of it. And so I just give them food that was a frequency of 1,000. Because the food that a lot of them eat is like minus 300. Like, holy shit, imagine living on minus 300 is nothing, right? But then they're like the fridge. The fridge is what destroys humanity. Putting your food in a fridge is the worst thing you can ever do. Like a freezer. Fridge is even bad too. But the freezer, once the food is frozen, don't touch it, right? It's like, is this people having catastrophes just in the old world? And so, but they see it as something that's bad, but it's just kind of like, well, pick up the pieces, right? And then pick the pieces right and kind of just do it without power. And it's a force, right? So imagine though if they had some kind of warning or if they had some kind of device to help them, right? But it wasn't there. It's like the writing was on the wall for them, and now that it's done, it's just like, oh, that's bad, right? So I deal with it. So it's just kind of like, now it's just kind of destruction, right? It's just kind of can destroy more. But you have to wonder, it's just kind of like, wow, are they controlling the weather? It's just like, oh my God, they're controlling the weather and then making it seem like the United States has all this power. It's like that. They got nothing. No. It's just a way to kill you, actually. Because in those things that they give you, it's just, those are parasites. They're actually giving you those parasites, and then when it comes down on you, and you just become what they give you. It's just, they control humans, right? It's like, they know how to do that. If you know that knowledge, right? Just like it's a knowledge, but you have to know it. So, yeah, it's just, they're killing you. Right? But if you had a sort of high frequency, they wouldn't even touch you. It's just all of a sudden they would just like, they'd die, right? But if you have a frequency that's the same that they're at, because of food, if you have food that's really low frequency, those things can bother you, and all of a sudden you're like, right? But the food I told you to eat that, like right away, make it, right? And you can eventually start healing yourself, and then you use nature, and you use water, and you do all this and there, and everything that I want to do, like that's part of it, right? But it helps you fight the cravings, because those cravings, those parasites that are inside your stomach, they can't get near you, right? And you, as essence, is your stomach, right? It's like that's your fountain of youth. People say, "Where's the fountain of youth?" I'm like, "It's your stomach." You tell someone that, they would just like, well, "I don't get it," right? And it's kind of like, well, just leave it, give it live and done. Give it that thing that when you eat, make sure there's a sauerkraut. Sauerkraut's the most important. Get live sauerkraut from the farmer's market, not from any store. And so, yeah, eat lots of that. Get 6 jars if you can. Because if there's I don't know, just have 6 jars. It's a live enzyme, right? And you put that with that meal that is there, and it acts as the gunpowder for that meal. So it's really important that those go in the same plate every time you eat. So every time you eat now, even start it right now, right? And start putting that live enzyme in your stomach. Some people out there who've already, right, who probably the ones who are listening right now, is like their stomach is already alive, right? Because they just keep going. Otherwise, it's just like, it's a maze. It's like you're just gonna make sure things are a little bit tougher for some people to find, because numbers scare people, and that's a good thing, right? If it scares a person, then they're probably really low frequency. But people with high frequency, they love numbers. They love figuring things out, and their brain is like that, right? It's like it's almost like our I don't know how you call them, ancestors, predecessors. I don't know. Like those people, right? But I'll get into that story later on. But anyway, that's a story for another time. But right, you kind of figure out exactly where it is. But anyway, have a good night.